Jake Paul and Tommy Fury finally fight on Sunday in Saudi Arabia, and we're here to break down the big fight itself. What's going on, guys? My name's Abbas. I'm from the StayWeighedIn YouTube page, and we're live right now breaking down the big mega fight on the weekend that is happening between Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. And it's a fight that has been rescheduled previously, and now it looks like we're all set to go. So let's go straight into it and let's break down the boxes and stuff. We'll go with the underdog, which is a surprise. A Fury being an underdog, and you could even say the B side as well, which he definitely is as well. Tommy Fury. Now, with Tommy, there's been a lot of chat about him where he's just taking the Fury name and being able to get fights, being able to, I guess, not stand on his own 2 feet. It's always he's Tyson's brother rather than anything else. And when you actually look at him when he fights as well, it's nothing exciting. His last few fights all gone to decision, points victories, nothing that stands out to me where I can say Tommy Fury is someone that I can be excited for to watch, regardless of whether he's on the come up or not, because there's a lot of exciting boxers that you can look at and say, even though they're only 7, 8, and 0, we're excited to watch them, because that's at a point where you decide to think, yes, I want to go ahead and watch this guy and potentially he could be something. With Tommy, it just doesn't seem that way. There's not anything for me that I look at outside the fact that he's Tyson Fury's brother and the fact that he was on Love Island, where I believe also a lot of his fan base, you could say, not necessarily fan base, but where the hype came of Tommy Fury was that he's basically Tyson Fury's brother, but also he won Love Island. And realistically, if Tommy Fury was just another average Joe, we would not care about him. I don't think he would be fighting on cards with the likes of Tyson Fury. He wouldn't be doing the venues that he's done in the past as well, because he's just not right up to it at this present moment in time. So as a fighter myself, like I said, I've been on record previously. I said I can't look at Tommy Fury and see anything outside of just another individual who has the ability to live off his brother's names. And it's, again, like I said, you've got Tyson and you've also got Huey Fury, who in his own right has gone on and challenged for a world title, but I don't see that with Tommy myself. Then on the other hand, you've got Jake Paul. Now, a lot of people have come and criticized Jake because they believe he's not, one, taking it seriously, and also he's a YouTube boxer. However, what I will say with Jake is when you look at him, regardless of the fights he's been outside of probably the Anderson Silva fight, he's knocked out everybody as far as I can recall. Tyron Woodley twice as well in there, Ben Askren as well. Now, albeit they've not been the boxing, quote unquote, boxers, you could argue that the resumes that he's fought against have been better than anything Tommy Fury has touched. And I think a lot of people will argue that that would be the point. Now, interestingly enough, he comes in as the favorite in this fight as well. And I will say this, and when we break down the fight in a bit more detail, I think he's got a lot more knockout power than him. And in with that and the novice level of both fighters, I think that could adhere to a big favorite for him in terms of being able to go ahead and get this particular victory as well. Now, when it comes to the actual fight itself, it's interesting. On one hand, you've got Tommy, who's never fought an 8-round fight. Then on the other hand, you've got Jake, who's done a few 8-round fights, albeit the last one being the only one going 2 points against Anderson Silva. The fight itself, you can look at it in twofold. You've got Tommy Fury, who, by all accounts, to the traditional boxing fan base, should go ahead and beat this quote-unquote YouTuber who's just come in off the back of his name and branding and being able to fight people who are not boxers, who are significantly older, who are not active or ready to be able to fight. And Jake's been able to win them, and therefore he's been discredited. And then on the other hand, You've got someone coming from boxing royalty in a way. You've got John Fury coaching him. You've got Tyson, who's a world heavyweight champion, arguably the best heavyweight in the world as well right now. And you would say that on paper, this is a fight for Tommy that he should be able to win. However, being that it's Jake Paul, I don't personally see that Tommy wins this fight, and a few reasons why. The fight itself, for starters, like we mentioned, it's 8 rounds. I don't believe, as much as I've criticized Jake Paul and his cardio at times, I don't believe Tommy Fury has that level of cardio to do 8 3-minute rounds in his current, where he is currently in his career. Secondly, and arguably a more important point in this fight would be, and Jake's alluded to it in the past, he's never been the top bill. When you go into certain fights, especially at this particular time is in your career, you're more than likely on the undercard. You're arguably one of the first few fights when the crowd's coming in, or you're sitting there when about half of the arena is filled up, and because of your name is Fury, you're going to fight a bit earlier. And it all changes when it comes to this particular. You are the headline bill. You are the man that people are paying the money to watch. And Jake, having the following that he does, but also being in the entertainment industry as long as he has been, being able to deal with a lot more controversies in the past, he can hack the spotlight. I don't believe Tommy Fury can do this. But for me, I think outside of that point, I think the cardio, like I mentioned before, is going to be a big thing. I don't believe Tommy Fury can actually fight for 8 3-minute rounds and be able to take on Jake Paul. Now, interestingly enough, I haven't seen any sort of lines or anything when it comes to if the fight should go the distance or not. But I do believe that we might get a knockout here. And when it comes to that, I am actually taking Jake Paul to win this fight. Again, I know a lot of people will probably say that it's not meant to be. Tommy Fury is the professional boxer. He's the man that is the man that has more to lose, and therefore he should win this particular fight. But again, I've gone on record to say this once, I don't believe Jake Paul's just a YouTube boxer anymore. I think he takes this a lot more seriously. And if you look at it, I know we criticize WBC as well, but they have said if Jake wins this fight, he goes into the rankings. So there's a lot for him to now stake his claim as a professional level boxer and someone that can be taken seriously. Now, on the opposite side, if Tommy was to lose this fight, talk about people who have a lot to lose. This man's just started his career and it could already be over. And again, I do believe that's going to happen. It's a mental thing. When you call out certain individuals like Jake Paul, for example, he's known as the problem child for a reason, because he can basically do what Tyson Fury can do in the instance that his words can get to you mentally, but also at the same time, if he was to ever suffer a loss, he's got his way around it. He's able to work his way, speak his way, talk his way out of certain situations. I don't believe Tommy's ready for that. So again, like I said, if I was to go with the prediction right now, I do think towards the later round 6 to 8, I see Jake Paul knocking him out, and it's going to be a combination of Tommy's fatigue and Jake landing that right hook that he's been known for to be able to knock certain opponents out, like Woodley twice, Ben Askren, and that troubled people like Anderson Silva in the past. But I do want to know your guys' views as well. Let us know what you think about this particular fight. Are you excited for it? Are you paying the pay-per-view? Just actually on a point on that, I've got no problem with it being pay-per-view. I knew that when this fight was announced, we were going to get a pay-per-view price. $19.95 does seem a little bit steep. I think they could have reduced that personally down to something like $14.95, being that it's a novelty pay-per-view fight. But again, I expected it because when you got someone like Jake Paul fighting, you are going to try to cash in as much as you can. But again, as always, if you do like the content, you know what to do. Drop a like, share, subscribe, and as always, stay weighed in.